Alright guys, welcome back to the homestead. I in fact just got back to the homestead from the emergency room. A lot of times when people ask me how I know certain things, it's because I learn kind of hands-on. I learn from doing things, I learn from experimenting, I learn from being out there. Haven't spent a lot of time in a lot of classrooms. Now when I was in the classroom I did rather well. You know, graduated high school, high honors, perfect attendance record, all that. But the real world application of things, the real research and stuff that happens in the real world is what I like. So today I spent some time learning about snake bites hands-on. And not just snake bites, because I've probably been bit several hundreds, if not, thousands of times by snakes. In fact, in the past 24 hours. I wouldn't be surprised if I got bit 10 or a dozen times by snakes. Caught some water snakes last night, was playing with some today. It's pretty easy to get bit by a water snake if you grab it. And I grabbed it. But I was doing a video about venomous water snakes versus non-venomous water snakes. And I almost got bit by one of the water moccasins. And then I did. It's my first venomous snake bite in my life. I believe I have been envenomated before, meaning that when I had my first copperhead ever, I believe some of the venom actually leaked down into an open wound on my hand. And, I had a measure of venom. Very mild, very small measure, but it was noticeable later. I'm like, man, what happened to my hand? Now, I didn't have results like this. If you look at this hand and compare it to that hand, I don't know, can you guys catching the difference? Or if you look at that thumb compared to the other thumb, there should be a noticeable difference, primarily in the size of this one compared to that one. And right now the swelling, well, at noon I got bit right about here on my thumb by a small water moccasin. It happened very quickly. And one of the ways that I use to kind of manipulate a water moccasin to handle it is something like dollar store, barbecue tong type things. That gives you about 8 inches to deal with. If you watch, some people have a full snake grabber that looks more like a trash picker upper. That's got about 3 feet worth of distance. I need to get one of those. I don't have one of those yet. So I need to get one of those. But when I grabbed the snake, I simply grabbed it too far back on the body, it spun around, boom! Just split second. And I'm like, whoa, I just got bit. I processed the information rather quickly. Said, okay. Packed up my camera equipment, my stuff, walked back to the truck, and drove home and, broke the news to Mama. I said, hey, I just got bit by a water moccasin, And spent some time talking, thinking, praying, decided, you know what, let's go to the emergency room. So by about 1 o'clock I was at the ER, and I called them. It was funny because when I called them on the way, I called them and explained things. I said, I said my age. I said we got a 38-year-old male in this city bitten by a water moccasin, on the right hand, about 20 minutes away right now, should be here, whatever. And the lady asked me, she goes, are you with Arkansas Game and Fish, on the phone? I'm like, no, why? She says, well, who's this about? I'm like, well, I'm the snakebite victim. I'm the one who got bit. She goes, oh, you just sounded so professional. I'm like, well, I was just trying to lay out the information for you guys quick so you can start processing on your end. And when I get there, you know what's going on. So I get there and had to wait around a while. Eventually they get me in back. And by about 1:50, it was right here, okay? About a half hour, these two were swollen up. This finger and this one. And then about an hour, it was over another one. By about the time almost 2 hours or an hour and a half had passed, yeah. Well, almost 2 hours had passed. It was swollen all the way back to here. Now since then, it's gone across here. By the time we were having a conversation at 3:45, they're like, yeah, you can go home and monitor it. And what we did while we were there is my swelling, of course there's going to be swelling, is doing pretty good overall. My pain level is doing pretty good overall. My body and my attitude, my stuff is responding to it pretty well. So all those things are working in my favor. They did a little bit of blood work, And everything came back good. My body was, dealing with things well. And it was interesting because they drew blood here, right next to the snake bite. And the guy was like, resting his hand on here to do some stuff. I'm like, that hurt more than drawing the blood. So then they came back in and stuck me over here because that's where it was supposed to go. And I'm like, that's okay. So I got 2 holes in my body earlier today. Whoosh, right? Water moccasin. But we decided not to go with any anti-venom. And what anti-venom does is it kind of gives your body a boost, kind of like if it was something you were used to dealing with. And that's why some people even envenomate themselves, where they will milk venomous snakes and kind of add a little bit periodically to their bloodstream to kind of build up a natural tolerance to it. There was a guy back in the day who had been bit by venomous snakes so many times that they used to do blood transfusions to save other people. Just because, a dose of his blood could do that because it was used to fighting that. So I'm not used to fighting this. But we decided not to go with anti-venom. The doctor, who had never been bit by a snake, venomous snake anyway, said if this was his first snake bite on himself, given everything, said that he wouldn't either. So Crofab is the anti-venom they use these days, better than the anti-venom they used to have. It's for the crotalidae, so your North American pit vipers, which is going to cover cottonmouths, which are water moccasins, copperheads, and then all the rattlesnakes. And they just take venom from kind of a couple different ones because different snakes have different venom, and of course different bodies respond to it differently. But the thing is, Crofab, okay, we decided not to kind of rule that out anyway, but I want to point something out to you guys, and that is the anti-venom cost about $20,000 for 1 vial. Okay, I believe that's accurate. I believe we just had a conversation about that. I believe that's what they said. And they give you 4 vials at a dose. So rather than buying a cheap house at $80,000, which is more expensive than any house I've ever had in my life, you could get some anti-venom. And if it takes your body a bit of time and you're still not responding the right way, they'll give you another 4 vials. 4 vials is the dose. I kind of made the comment, I'm like, wow, it kind of makes me wish someone would bundle and save, just buy in bulk. But that's kind of the matter of it. It is what it is, People's insurances or health shares or other things will often pay for a good portion of things. But we decided not to. And by about 4 o'clock, I was out of the hospital. Bit at noon. Went to the ER for a while and kind of knew on Instagram, but that's the only account I was signed into on my phone. So I was kind of giving some kind of play-by-plays on there. But within 4 hours of being bit, I was already back from the hospital. So still not out of the woods yet. I mean, look behind me, right? I'm still not out of the woods yet. I've got to make sure that, the blood keeps coming to these fingers, because if all this swelling, it kind of looks like an inflated surgical glove. It gets too big, it can cut off the blood supply. I could lose my hand, I could lose fingers, I could lose my thumb. We're still not out of the woods. I do not believe I'm going to die from this. I do not believe that those things are going to happen. There are possibilities that, I could lose a finger, I could lose the hand, but I've got to monitor it. But rather than me just kind of hanging out like the guy on the couch, taking up one of their beds in the ER, kind of doing whatever, chilling there, they sent me home. And, I was like, yeah, that makes sense to me. I can monitor it, and if we need to, we'll get back over there if I think something's up. So, at the moment, that's where we're at, guys. I got interrupted right in the middle of a video. Pretty good video. Still plan on completing it. But again, it's always a lesson to be learned. I don't mind handling venomous snakes. I don't mind handling non-venomous snakes. I don't mind grabbing them and shoving them close to a camera so other people can get a better look at them, a look that they never otherwise would. And from their side of the computer or their side of the smartphone or something, they can get a good look at these things. I don't mind that at all. I think education is incredibly important. I will say the 2 most common times that people get bit by venomous snakes are when they're either trying to kill them or catch them. A lot of people like them, so they try to catch them. And a lot of people don't like them, so they try to kill them. And both of those will put you in harm's way. The other time people get bit by snakes is when you pose a threat to them. You may not even know they're there, but you walk too close, you step right next to them. I had a video about that called Getting Attacked by a Snake. And I kind of paint the perspective that a lot of people show of a venomous snake, or I mean a snake attack. I don't believe snake attacks really happen. At least they're very few and far between, and it's a lot different than people really do it. It's, you know, it's a sleeping baby and a giant constrictor, or, you know, it's something else. It's not snakes just on the prowl running down and hunting down people. That's not how it happens. Like I said, I've probably been bit by hundreds or possibly thousands of snakes, and every one of those I had to run after and chase and grab before it would actually bite me. That was my choice, right? But I do believe education's important. I do believe learning things is important. I do believe I'm going to learn something from this. Does this mean I'm never going to go out herping at night again? Does this mean I'm going to stay away from swimming in the water down at the lake? You know, no, I'm not going to do that. But I will be more careful. Like I said, I'm thinking I'm going to try to get some of those big snake grabbers, rather than the little barbecue tongs with 8 inches of reach. And that's just kind of where we're at. Wanted to give you guys an update. I'll go more. Maybe you'll hear more about this later, something like that. I think I'm gonna lay down and take a nap for a bit. It's been an interesting 5 hours. I'm recording this about 5 hours after, so we're this far down the arm, getting swollen. Let me tear that off. See if we can give you guys a look. This almost hurts worse. And the pain was pretty bad a couple times. I mean, you know, since the bite, it's impressive to feel it. It's definitely making its presence known. And they asked me like on scales. I don't think it ever got like over a 5. I think I said mostly 2s and 3s when they asked about it. I mean, it's there. I'm aware of it. It's uncomfortable. Could I sleep through it? Probably, if I was that tired, you know what I mean? Would it maybe prevent me from taking a light nap? Probably. But I also said I didn't want anything for the pain just because I wanted to be able to monitor it. But then also, like, if you take the pain away, that's not going to help me learn my lesson, is it? So here's kind of a little divot in my skin. You see that divot? Okay, that's where my arm is supposed to start getting skinnier and keep coming down skinnier. Instead, you run into a bump. And then it just comes out really fat. Look at how fat that is. Oh, that's crazy looking. Alright guys, I'm going to get this uploaded just to kind of keep you guys clued into what's happening. And we will talk to you later. Papa out.